Hey everybody, I'm Jason Creel. I'm a lawn care professional, and today I want to talk to you about protecting your equipment. Now when I say protecting your equipment, that can go in a lot of different directions, but we're going to talk about a few things and give you some tips today on how to protect it. One thing that happens, unfortunately, in the lawn care industry is theft. And that, not just in our industry, that goes on in almost any industry, but it is unfortunate, and you hear way too many cases of people's equipment being stolen, and that's very unfortunate. Now, and you think about that, there's a lot of money tied up in lawn equipment. Sometimes it's easy to get access to. I've heard too many stories where people have equipment stolen right on the job. They'll be at someone's home mowing the lawn, come back out to their trailer and their backpack blower's gone, string trimmer's gone, or maybe even worse, a zero-turn mower's gone that might have cost $10,000. So this is obviously a problem. It can be very frustrating, and we're going to just talk about some things as far as protecting your equipment from that standpoint. Now, obviously, one thing you can do in those situations, and it's something to consider, is getting some insurance to protect you in case that happens. So now, especially on a more expensive piece of equipment like a zero-turn mower, if you bought a brand new $10,000 lawnmower, then I would seriously consider thinking through, should I get insurance on this piece of equipment in case it were to get stolen, and then you'd get some compensation for that to be able to replace that equipment and not be a major setback to your business. But when you talk about protecting your equipment, I think you can go other directions too, because it's not just theft that damages our equipment. I think you understand, one, just educating yourself on how to properly use equipment. Again, I'm just going to talk about a zero-turn mower because that's a very commonly used thing in the lawn care business, but it's not just that. It could be anything, but let's just say your zero-turn mower and you understanding how to use it properly, but especially when you start bringing on people working with you. So if you have an employee, and you know how it goes, a lot of times employees don't take as much pride in your business as you do, and oftentimes that comes down to your equipment as well, not caring for the equipment properly. So it'll probably be wise to have some training involved in that. How are we going to properly care for our equipment? And that may be something as simple as a morning checklist, that every morning we're going to check the oil, make sure it's got plenty of oil. We're going to look, make sure it's got gas. We're going to check the air pressure in the tires, basic things like that. One of the things I like to do is just to have a simple dry erase board in the shop. So when I did basic maintenance on a mower, I like to keep track of it on that dry erase board. So let's say that I was required to change the oil every 100 hours. Well, it may not always land exactly on 100 hours. Let's say I changed at 102 hours. Well, I might have, for the X-Mark lawnmower, I changed the oil at 102 hours. I write that on the dry erase board and put the date by it. And that way I know I don't have to keep up with it. If I have multiple mowers, multiple pieces of equipment, I can write on there when was the last time I greased the mower. You could even do when you change the blades if you want to. But you got other maintenance things that are less often required, like changing the hydraulic oil might only be required every 500 hours. Well, it's hard to keep all that in your mind. And if you have a dry erase board or a notebook or some way, or even on your computer, a way to keep track of that, and that is one way to help protect your equipment and to make it last longer. Another thought on this topic is deciding between an open trailer and an enclosed trailer. Now, I personally like working off of an open trailer. It's not as hot in there, and an enclosed trailer can be very hot, but there's some definite advantages to an enclosed trailer. One, it protects things from the weather, which can help you protect your equipment, get longer use out of it, but also can protect it from theft. So if you feel like that's a threat in your area, then you may lean more toward the enclosed trailer. It's not like it's impossible for somebody to steal something out of an enclosed trailer, but it is definitely going to be more challenging, and if you kept that locked up when you were on the job, it would be a lot more difficult for somebody to break into your trailer and steal something versus just grabbing something off an open trailer and going. But even on an open trailer, there's locks. You can have a nice equipment racks for your blowers and your string trimmers, things like that, that can be locked up even while you're on the job, and that can help protect your equipment. I mentioned the weather as another factor, so if you're able to have your equipment brought indoors and not just leave it outside in the rain all the time. Maybe have a workshop, a garage, something like that, or that enclosed trailer is a way that you can get some extra use out of your equipment, protect it for longer periods of time. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. You know, protecting things from theft by looking into getting some insurance to protect your equipment in case it was stolen. Also using proper training to understand how to protect your equipment from just user damage. You know, doing proper daily maintenance or regular scheduled maintenance on the equipment to get the most life out of it. And also protect it from the elements, being able to keep it in a trailer, a garage, a shop, some way to get the most out of your equipment. You know, lawn equipment can be your livelihood, and we need to take care of it. And when you have to replace it, it can really be a setback. Now, one other thing you want to think about, maybe, as your equipment begins to age, sometimes it makes sense to go ahead and upgrade equipment before you start having a lot of maintenance bills on that piece of equipment. So sometimes it just makes sense. You can write off the expense of the new mower, possibly sell the old mower or use it as a backup. So that's something to consider as well. I appreciate you watching the video. Hope these tips have been helpful for you and learning how to protect your equipment.